Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love Your Life Tribe Wednesday live, sort of, not today. We do this at 1 o'clock every Wednesday, and today we're going to cover the metaphysical meaning of water. So let's get started. All right, so water symbols. We're going to go over. Water symbolizes many things, so we're going to go over them all. So water symbols are the chief element in many spiritual rituals and reflect rejuvenation, purification, healing, forgiveness, truth, and so much more. So the first symbol of life, birth and rejuvenation. It's associated with birth and rejuvenation because it's a symbol of the physical and the spiritual birth. So a baby can only be born after the mother's water breaks, which it's in water, right, before it comes out. And then likewise, the spiritual regeneration is only possible after individuals have cleansed themselves. So over here, we have some pictures of when Keith and I went to Bali, and we went to these healing waters is what they were. Not sure at that time how it would have worked. Here we are in Bali's water purification, location. And it was super interesting because he kept telling me to go back inside the water. You can see right here, it feels like all that water is, you can't breathe, like you're catching your breath. And so you get into this feeling of surrender. And watch right here when he tells me basically, he's throwing me back in the water. He's like, look, the water's still dirty. Go back inside. The water's still dirty. I'm like, how is the water still dirty? What he means is the cleansing of the ego and the cleansing of the soul. And for some reason they can tell. And he made me go back in a bunch of times. Watch right here. It's still dirty. So I go back in, feel this like, I have nowhere else to go but surrender and go to God. And that whole feeling, that whole experience. See, I'm back again. And he's like, okay, you're good. So all this experience, when we went here, there was a million steps. I can't even count. And my knee was hurting going down. The water was freezing. We stood in line. I was like, how am I going to get in this water? There's a lot of just surrender going on. And after this experience, I was able to go back up the steps without any pain whatsoever. And I think that solidified for me, like, wow, this really works. This is really holy. This is really, purifying, rejuvenating, etc. And that whole experience, like, I understand now why people line up and go to these places. You really do feel this type of renewal, this type of baptism, which we'll go over. So this Bali water purification was amazing. Let me see. Then it was Keith's turn, and he didn't have as much dirty water as me. He was like, yeah, you're good. So that whole experience was amazing. Then let's talk about symbol of change. So it was very healing for sure. Symbols of change. So it's due to its flow and movement. It's always malleable. It always moves. It's always changing. It's never constrained to one location, and it changes its form to become a river, a waterfall, a sea, the ocean, what you put in your cup, right? This constant movement of water is often used by saints and holy people to inspire humankind to adapt to changes instead of fearing them. So we always say, be like water, be able to flow, be able to adapt, be able to constantly adapt, because we're always changing. Everything is always changing. If we stay in a solid place, we are now in solidity. We are in solid instead of water. And there's earth, which is solid, water, which we'll go over, water, which is liquid, air, which is gas, and then fire, which is plasma. So we have all these different states physically, but we have these different states consciously too, which we're going to go over. So there's the symbol of the unconscious, which represents the unconscious mind. The ocean is as vast and deep as the unconscious mind, and its bottom can't be easily discerned. So what that means is that when you think about the ocean and how vast it is and how deep it is, you can completely metaphorically assign that to our unconscious mind, because it's just as much deep and unknown and so vast, right? So the symbol of flexibility: water moves easily, adapting its form to suit the environment. And in this way, water is often used as a symbol of flexibility. It is more of the feminine energy. It is very flexible. And that's how we need to be, right? So it's a symbol of flexibility. It's also the symbol of purification and forgiveness. So in purification, water is used to cleanse oneself, which makes it a symbol of purification, like we saw in the video. Not only that, but when you wash your hands, when you wash yourself, when you get in the shower, when you bathe and let all the emotions go down the drain, all of that is purification. We also want to put in there forgiveness. On a spiritual level, this is associated to forgiveness is always happening. It's always causing change. And in a sense, because water is truth, truth is also part of forgiveness. So in baptism, and in a lot of baptisms, a person's sins are washed away by water. So that is the symbolism that they use physically. But on a spiritual level, like the actual way, the actual true baptism, which is spiritual, not of the letter, for the letter kills and the spirit gives life. Spiritual baptism is of a renewal of the mind. It is when you have let go of the old doctrines and you've moved on to perfection, which is the number 7, which in Hebrews 6:1, 6 and 1 is 7, tells you to move on to perfection, to that 7, to forgiveness, to the renewal of the mind, to have a new understanding, new clarity, new way of seeing the world, and not the way that we have been conditioned. How many of you here are either a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces? How cool is that? Astrological symbols for the water elements: we have Cancer. The crab represents the rejuvenating and reviving aspects of water. So you can see the constellation of the crab there. Scorpio, while Scorpio symbolizes the still and mysterious features, it's very mysterious, it's very deep. And then we have Pisces. On the other hand, Pisces reflects wisdom, knowledge, and infinity. It's over and over and over. So all these water elements are very emotional, because we have water also representing our emotions. And so when you look at these, you have to know that they all have different aspects of these emotions. Cancer might be looking at the emotions outwardly. Scorpio might be looking at the emotions a little bit deeper, more inwardly. Pisces is just emotional. So we have all these different aspects of water. So let's get into washing the feet. We have, this is a big symbolism that I don't think many have come to understand. So let's talk about it. Symbolism. So feet are the part of you that touches the earth. Therefore, it represents the mind, the lower part of the mind. So the part touching your lower mind must be washed, okay, by Christ consciousness. So water is the washing, which is going within. And then Christ consciousness is the air, spirit, which is the next one. So it's like by touching the most bottom part of your body, it's the most lowest part of your consciousness being washed, being forgiven, being purified, right? And all the thoughts, the fears, the guilt must be washed away. And if you can tell, a lot of people are still covered in guilt, covered in fear, covered in all these thoughts that they haven't cleansed, that they are still very part of this world, of this earth, instead of the spirit. And so by washing the feet, it doesn't actually happen physically. Like if someone goes and washes your feet, that doesn't mean that this is what's going to happen. It's a symbol for the fact that you need to go inwardly, water, and then raise yourself up to air, Christ consciousness. And then by doing that, Christ removes the thoughts, the fears, and guilt, and it washes all of that away. Just like Noah and the ark, and it washes everything. Water is symbolism. It's the symbol for God being this vast truth, the truth, water. That's why you hear truth holds water. Not truth holds water, but does it hold water? Meaning, is it true? Does this stand, the waters, the test of time? So we have alpha. So let's go over what these mean as far as brainwave frequencies and states of consciousness. So we have alpha being water. We have earth representing the lower consciousness, water representing truth, air, Christ consciousness, fire, the new mind. And so if we look at it with the brainwave frequency, we're looking at beta, alpha, theta, delta. So it's a state of consciousness. What state is your brain in? Have you gone deep inside, closed shut the door, close your eyes, and taken yourself from the earthly, which is with your physical eyes, into the truth, the water, which is within you? And then being still and taking no thought gets you up into the air, where you meet Christ consciousness, which is where you meet your spirit. And then after feeling that, after knowing that it's true, after having nothing in this world tell you anything about that experience, you have a renewal mind, and no one can change that. So truth is about holding water, which is a dark saying, and it's all about God's truth. So let's go a little bit deeper in that. The spinal canal is the true Jordan River. Symbolically. What's the word? Symbolically. All right. So the spinal canal, the true Jordan River. Let's go over this. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except one be born of water, the spinal prism, and of the spirit, the kundalini, which is the energy of the spirit rising, one cannot enter into the kingdom of God. And now we all should know by now, the kingdom of God is within you. That's Luke 17:21. So one cannot enter into the kingdom of God, which is within you. So that which is born of the spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again. And as Moses, renewal of the mind, and as Moses lifted up the serpent, kundalini, which is the energy that flows up in the wilderness, which is in meditation, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. Now you are also the Son of Man, and it says it in the Bible. So we are all the Son of Man. So what it's trying to say is we have within us, in our spinal canal, this water. It's the living water. And if we can harness the energy, and if we can control it, if we can control it in a sense of not let our lower mind keep us in the lower mind, but to be able to raise ourselves to the highest, we are then able to raise our spirit, our energy to the highest. That's the whole story of Moses, and be lifted so that we can sit at the right hand of the Father, okay, which is our right hemisphere. So let's look a little further at the water springing up. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall be in him as what in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. So think about it. Whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. Now, realistically, we will get thirsty, right? In this realm, in the reality of this realm. Spiritually, though, we're talking about how thirsty are you for knowledge, right? If water is truth, how thirsty are you for seeking this wisdom? How much do you really want to find the truth, find God, find yourself? How thirsty are you? But the water that I shall give him shall be in him. This water is already in you. The truth is already in you. The wisdom is already in you. You need to just raise it, right? So a well of water springing up into everlasting life. Everlasting life is when you the kundalini or the energy rises up, the water springs up, hits the pineal gland, gives us enlightenment, gives us energy, gives us wisdom and understanding. So this is the water that springs up that gives us everlasting life. And then Revelation 21:6 closes it off really well. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely, not tithing, not because you give somebody money, freely, which means you are able to tap into this water reservoir within yourself. If you're thirsty, right, for knowledge, for wisdom, for understanding, and allow this process of understanding the beginning and the end, because we are eternal. Once this actually happens, once you have a revelation of the water within you. Okay, so that basically is the metaphysical meaning of water. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that I kind of rushed through it. I also have a live right now at 1 o'clock in the QE Academy. For those of you that don't know, we have a QE Academy that just launched on Monday. We have a workshop going on there. It's a manifestation workshop. We have all the replays. If you're thirsty and wanting to check it out, it's right there. The replay's there. You also received it in your email. And guys, come check out QE Academy. We are doing things like this on a daily over there with all of us, the whole QE team. So you get a little bit of us on a daily. And that means that you get to level up as well. So I am really excited that we launched it, that you guys are here in the tribe, and that we are always growing, always learning, and always wanting more. So thank you. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. Peace.